On today's episode of the High Not to Laugh podcast, we're going to continue our travels through the MCU while I'm a Gen X DC fan and
I'm
a Gen Z
Marvel fan.
Who's high.
Very.
All right, welcome to the High Not to Laugh podcast, part of the series that he does high on an edible, and we've got 4 new things that we are doing.
We're doing something different every week.
Yep. So now we've cycled back to the MCU. We're traveling from the beginning, so go back and check out our Iron Man 1 review.
Oh yeah.
But we have it a little more solidified as to how we're going to do it this time.
Yes.
It's very similar to another show we do where we review horror movies, except we're not playing the trailer and doing the fake commercials and stuff.
Yeah, we're basically just going to kind of talk about the movie, behind the scenes of the movie.
Well, I'm going to start with... Oh, and to my right, as always, I always do this late now. To my right, as always, is the Betty Ross to my...
Bruce Banner.
Bruce Banner, yeah. I almost said Betsy, and I realized that was the wrong Ross.
Betsy's the circle one, right?
She's the flag lady, yeah. Not even close. Except for the names are very close.
Right.
Anyway, so as a DC fan growing up in the 80s, the only thing I knew was I did watch the Incredible Hulk show with Lou Ferrigno and what was it, Bill Bixby?
Yeah. As did everybody else at that time, because it was the only thing that played.
And I will say some of this plot line definitely came right from, like, every episode of that.
Right.
It was like every episode he would help somebody, and then he'd have
be
to
on
deal
the run
with fighting the military coming after him.
Oh my goodness. You're telling me it's a Hulk story?
I mean, that's basically... It's the basic bitchness of Hulk.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it is. But, all right. So that's what I knew going into this when it came out. I didn't read a lot of the comics. In Marvel, I basically read Wolverine and some X-Men stuff that wasn't just Wolverine, and I read Spider-Man, and especially anytime Carnage showed up.
That also makes sense.
Those were, I mean, I liked Venom, but Carnage was like really the ones that I made sure to get. Outside of that, I was, Superman, Batman.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what's the premise of this movie?
All right. So, previously, he was in the jungle. So now...
We pick up with...
He's kind of still in the South American jungle.
Which is funny because it's not supposed to actually be a sequel to the first one. It's a reboot, but it's also a sequel to the first one, not a reboot.
Right. It picks up where the last one left off.
Like, it's canon that it's both a sequel
and a reboot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is...
wrong.
Whatever. And the government says that he stole their secrets. The secrets are the Hulk.
Yeah, he
stole the Hulk from the government.
Thing that happened to him.
Yeah. So he's just,
on the
bottling
run.
Soda now.
Yes, he is bottling soda. And then he bleeds on a bottle, and it draws the attention when it kills poor Stan Lee.
It draws the attention of...
the military.
Yeah, the military.
And then the military comes after him. It's a Hulk story, as you said.
Hulk story, yeah. It's all of the beats of a Hulk story.
Before he gets out of control, which comes later and harder. Anyway, now we're going to each read you 5 behind-the-scene facts about the show, or about the movie.
Yeah.
You want to go first, or you want me to?
Yeah, I can.
All right.
So, according to Tim Roth, who played Abomination in the movie, Edward Norton rewrote scenes every day. Norton and Liv Tyler also spent hours discussing their characters' lives, especially before Hulk appeared.
So that they would feel comfortable like they were
Natural.
actually those people. Edward Norton rewrote so much of the script that on some posters he was credited under the pseudonym Edward Harrison. His writing credit was denied by the WGA, and Zach Penn is the only credited writer.
Yeah. Paul Soles, who plays Stanley Lieber, the owner of the pizza shop, provided the voice for Bruce Banner and the Hulk in the Hulk animated series from 1966, and later went on to provide the voice of Spider-Man and Peter Parker in the 67 Spider-Man show, and the character's name is another tribute to Hulk co-creator Stan Lee. Stan Lee's birth name was Stanley Lieber.
Which I knew that, actually. I did grow up with him at the beginning of cartoons, hey there, whatever his, what the hell was it?
True Believers?
True Believers, that was, yeah. Anyway, but I definitely grew up hearing his gruff voice on live action before and after cartoons. Originally, Abomination was going to return as a supporting antagonist in Avengers Age of Ultron, but he was cut.
Mm-hmm. Liv Tyler accepted her role without reading the script.
She was just like, I'll do a Marvel movie of the Hulk.
Yeah.
Sam Elliott wanted to reprise his role as General Ross from the Hulk in 2003, but it was taken by William Hurt.
Yes. When General Ross is retrieving the serum from cold storage, the container not only has the name of Dr. Reinstein, the developer of Captain America Super Serum, but also Crysync, the company name under which is written Stark Industries.
Edward Norton was a big fan of the Hulk comics and originally turned down the lead because he had concerns over how the film would turn out. After meeting Louis Lederer and Marvel and hearing their vision, he signed on.
Yes. This is the only film in the MCU Phase 1 not to be distributed by Paramount Pictures, as Universal had the rights to the Incredible Hulk since the TV series The Incredible Hulk in 1977.
It still remains the lowest grossing Marvel Cinematic Universe film, despite making over $200 million.
Right.
That just shows how much they make.
They make a lot of them. There was also one. This is the only Phase 1 movie that doesn't have Sam Jackson show up in person.
Okay. All right. What was your least favorite scene of The Incredible Hulk?
So, there's a lot for me to pick at with this movie, unfortunately. There's
I know.
Just so much that happened in this movie that was not right. But probably just the fact that there's a scene where he gets thrown a big pair of purple shorts. And everyone's supposed to go, well, look. Yeah. It's the thing that he's never worn on screen. Ever.
Basically. All right, so you thought that was just too goofy for you?
It's just like, either wear them, all right, give me dumb hulking giant purple shorts, or don't leave it out.
Okay. For me, it was the fact that it was such a basic premise. Hulk being hunted by the military, and at the end has to fight a gamma creature.
Ooh. Yeah.
That's...
Also, every Hulk story.
That's as basic as, like the two main things he has to deal with is the military and
other Hulk-ish things.
Until later on when he has to deal with, Planet Hulk stuff where he gets sent there by the Avengers and all. But that's...
no, the Illuminati.
Oh, true.
Yeah, it was the leaders of all of the teams.
But anyway, so what was your favorite scene?
All right. So, the first scene in this movie that actually has the Hulk in it feels like it was shot very much like a horror movie. And going into the behind-the-scenes stuff, it turns out that's what their intention was. They were using the camera as the monster in a lot of the shots, and when you did see him, he was hiding in the shadows, so you couldn't see whether or not the CG was good, because in the scenes that it was a little lackluster. So hiding him in the shadows, showing it from his perspective, just kind of showing from the distance, like things getting thrown around and people screaming and getting hurt. It was very horror movie-esque, and it was awesome. Okay.
I would say my favorite part, as much as it was cartoony in the fight scenes, when he ripped that car
in half.
And basically wore them like fists.
Oh my
And was
goodness.
and charged Abomination.
Yeah.
That was...
I mean, it's dope.
Listen, in a movie that was about the Hulk that had very little Hulk smash, that was all the Hulk smash.
It was.
It was very Hulk smash. And that's what you want in a Hulk movie.
It's
if you
like...
don't get Hulk smash, you get upset about Hulk movie.
Yeah.
Hulk did more smashing in Avengers movies than he did in...
He did an awful lot in those.
Right,
And
so-
he only showed up for a little bit in those, too.
Right. And he did more smashing, is my point. So that would be my favorite
Another
part.
little fun tidbit was the director originally wanted Mark Ruffalo to play the Hulk in this movie.
Oh, well.
And they said, who?
Well, they don't say that now, do they?
No.
I guess another little nitpicky thing I'll throw out there before we go is the fact that I didn't like that he's supposed to be so smart, and he's like writing emails back and forth to this guy, not knowing who he's talking to, and that worked out well.
Right.
If he's as smart as...
He's supposed to be coming back.
If Banner's supposed to be like a genius, that seems a bit like he wasn't paying attention. Now, we're going to rate this on a scale of 1 to 10, but we're going to give it 2 ratings. Because of the show being pot-based, we're going to give it a rating on what we think of it as a movie, and then a separate number of how enjoyable it is if you've cheeched your chong.
Yeah.
So, on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think?
The first one, just a regular rating. This is not a great movie.
No.
This is like a 4.
Yeah, I'm
Like-
going to meet you at a 4.
Like, I rewatch it because
It's
there's
part
like
of-
4 scenes that have Hulk smashing stuff.
And it does technically go...
Count?
Yeah, I get it.
So,
4 is about right. Now, when you watched it the most recent time, were you
I was.
elevated? Okay. And
It's like a 6.
I'm going to go 5. It
wasn't-
improved it, but not enough.
No.
And the special effects weren't great enough.
It made the jokes not land as well.
Which is not what it usually does.
Right. But
All
the
right.
action looked so much cooler. It was, it's a fun time 40% of the time in this movie.
Right. And
So I didn't realize we were doing this part.
yeah.
So in my head, I had like a few things I wanted to bring up. There's a character who shows up on a computer in this movie who I can't remember, Martin something. I can't remember the guy's name and the actor, but he comes back in Spider-Man Homecoming as Peter's teacher.
Yeah.
And in the tie-in novel, the claim was that white guy was Amadeus Cho,
Well, listen.
who is the Iron Spider in sometimes, and he also gets turned into a Hulk at one point. But he's a Cho.
His last name is Cho. He's not Caucasian.
No,
He's Asian.
right.
Right.
And
I get
and
that.
it bothered me that they changed that.
Reasonable. They shouldn't.
I'm glad that the retcon is it's just the guy that actor played Future.
Yeah.
But the tie-in novel tried so hard to make you think that was an Asian guy.
All right. Well, that'll be the podcast for this week.
Yes.
And as always, if you're looking for something mean and green, it doesn't always have to be that. It can be this.
As always.
As always,